Imagine carrying, like right inside your own DNA, a living record of empires, migrations, resistance. That's the incredible story we're taking a deep dive into today. We're exploring this fascinating narrative coded within Guatemala's gene pool, our mission, to really try and understand how ancient civilizations, European conquests, African diasporas, and even modern movements have woven together this, well, vibrant genetic tapestry, and importantly, what that means for identity, for health, and for history itself. It's really not just biology, it's history written in our cells deeply.
It really is. And, recent genome-wide studies have truly begun to peel back the layers on this intricate story. They give us this powerful synthesis of public genetic knowledge and cultural history. So what these studies are telling us broadly is that the average Guatemalan genome is roughly, say, 41 to 45% indigenous Maya, about 42 to 46% European, and somewhere around 8 to 12% African ancestry.
Okay, but you mentioned it's not uniform, right? That sounds like where the really interesting details might lie for you, the listener.
Exactly. It gets really fascinating when you look closer. You see these variations across the country. For instance, rural Maya communities, sometimes you see up to 90% indigenous ancestry still. It's quite striking. Whereas in urban centers like Guatemala City, European heritage might be more dominant. And interestingly, there's also this trace Asian ancestry, just a subtle thread, really woven in from 19th century labor migrations, particularly from China.
Wow, okay. That's a really powerful overview of this genetic tapestry we're about to unpack. What I find myself wondering first, though, is how far back does this go? Can we trace the very earliest genetic whispers?
Oh, absolutely. The ancient Maya legacy is, well, it's foundational here. We have to start there. They were, one of the world's most advanced pre-Columbian civilizations. Just think about their complex mathematics, astronomy, intricate writing systems.
Incredible stuff.
Truly. And what's so profound, genetically speaking, is how their markers are still dominant in the highlands today, especially in communities like the Quiche, the Quiche, the Mam. These markers, they link back thousands of years. Thousands. It makes them incredibly valuable for studying, well, ancient human migration across the Americas. It's like a living, breathing connection to that sophisticated past.
It really is amazing how much deep history is encoded right there. But then this massive historical force arrived, didn't it? Something that completely reshaped the Americas. How did centuries of colonialism interact with and, well, reshape that ancient genetic landscape?
It's a dramatic interaction, yeah. And the genetic data paints a pretty stark picture. The Spanish conquest, starting in the early 16th century, it profoundly altered the genetic landscape. There's no other way to put it.
Yeah.
You see this really striking pattern emerge. European Y DNA lines became quite common, while at the same time, indigenous mitochondrial DNA remained dominant.
Okay, just to clarify that for everyone listening, that means the male line of descent, the Y DNA, predominantly came from European men, and the maternal line, the mitochondrial DNA, continued mainly through indigenous women. Is that right?
Precisely. You've got it. The Y chromosome, passed father to son, reflects that incoming European male ancestry. And the mitochondrial DNA, inherited solely from the mother, shows the enduring indigenous female lineage. And this isn't just, a biological footnote. It starkly illustrates the power structures, the often violent dynamics of the conquest. It shows how European men often fathered children with indigenous women, while indigenous men faced, well, very different, often tragic fates. It's a silent record, really, but undeniable, written right there in the genes from that era.
That's a powerful and frankly quite sobering insight into that period of history. But the story isn't just binary, is it? Not just indigenous and European. There's another crucial thread, one that's often kind of underrepresented in the mainstream narratives, that adds even more richness to this mix.
You're absolutely right to highlight that. We definitely need to talk about the African genetic component. It's vital. Its arrival was primarily through the horrific Atlantic slave trade, and then later through various Caribbean migrations as well. And you can see this rich heritage preserved so vividly in Afro-Guatemalan communities today, especially, in coastal regions like Livingston. They maintain these vibrant cultural traditions, often linked to Garifuna and Creole roots. It's just another layer of incredible resilience and cultural persistence that you see. So, okay, we've traced these incredible genetic threads from ancient Maya civilizations through these colonial encounters, the transatlantic slave trade. What does this all start to mean when we look at modern implications and even the controversies that sometimes arise? Because it's clearly far more than just some scientific curiosity, isn't it? You've hit on a really crucial point there.
Yes.
These genetic discoveries, they haven't happened in a vacuum. They've ignited some pretty complex discussions and debates within Guatemala itself. For instance, there's this significant question of data ownership. It's huge. Should Guatemala's genetic data be freely used in global studies? Or should indigenous communities have sovereign control over how their data is collected, how it's interpreted, especially given past exploitation?
That's a big one.
It is. And then there's the ongoing conversation around identity politics. You have some critics arguing that, promoting this mixed heritage narrative, this mestizaje, could inadvertently undermine distinct indigenous identities and their struggles for recognition, while others perhaps view this blend as more of a unifying national narrative, something that celebrates a diverse shared ancestry.
Two very different ways of looking at it.
Very different. And then in medical research, which is fascinating, genetic studies have revealed unique markers, things linked to disease resistance or adaptation to high-altitude living, which is common in parts of Guatemala. But alongside that comes this real worry, this justifiable concern about potential exploitation by, say, foreign biotech firms. I mean, what stands out to you when you hear about his ethical considerations?
That's a really good question. Honestly, for me, it's that data ownership issue that keeps coming back. The idea of indigenous communities having, sovereignty over their own genetic heritage. That feels incredibly important, especially given the historical context you mentioned. It sort of transforms this raw biological data into something with profound cultural and historical value, not just something purely for science to analyze. And I can also see both sides of that identity debate, like you laid out. Celebrating a blended heritage feels inclusive, sure, but does focusing only on the mixed aspect maybe dilute the specific struggles and unique identities of distinct indigenous groups? Groups who fought so hard for recognition for so long. It's clearly a very active, very nuanced discussion happening right now.
It absolutely is, and it's vital.
Yeah.
But beyond these crucial debates, there's also a deeply practical reason why understanding this genetic diversity matters, like right now.
How so? What's the practical side?
Well, it comes down to health. This isn't just about looking back at history. It has direct practical importance for the present and the future of public health in Guatemala. Understanding these specific genetic adaptations, the variations we see, could actually be key in developing more targeted healthcare strategies. Strategies for conditions that are particularly prevalent in these populations.
Right, like tailored medicine based on genetic background.
Exactly. We're talking about real-world applications. Think about conditions like heart disease, diabetes, maybe even those altitude-related complications we mentioned. This genetic information offers a pathway, potentially, to more personalized and hopefully more effective medical interventions. It could improve lives in a very tangible, measurable way.
It's truly incredible, isn't it? How much information is contained right within our own bodies. We've journeyed really from ancient civilizations to these intense colonial encounters through the tragedy of the transatlantic slave trade and right into these modern debates about identity, sovereignty, healthcare, and all through the lens of genetics. Guatemala's gene pool really is like a living testament to survival, to adaptation, and just profound cultural resilience.
Absolutely. And whether you, listening now, see this rich genetic diversity primarily as a symbol of unity or maybe as a subject for ongoing necessary ethical and social debate, one thing is certain. In every Guatemalan heartbeat, you have history and science locked in this constant, fascinating dialogue. The real question is, perhaps, what more might we learn when we truly listen to what our genes are telling us? And just as importantly, how will we choose to interpret and act on that knowledge?